I have a conundrum. I bought this glaze a while ago. It's a Mayco stoneware copper float. And I bought it just based off of how it looked on the website. And the first time I used it, I did a little tester on a mug that didn't turn out, and sent it to my community studio to be fired. And this is the result that I got back. Okay, this is gorgeous. I love this. This obviously, this was a tester, so I think I had 4, 3, 2, and 1 coats. So obviously it likes to have lots of coats. One side of it was more matte. The other side had these gorgeous crystals. Because it was fired at my community studio, I don't know what this means. I don't know if this was the warm side or this was the cool side or what. Every time I fired this glaze since then, this is the result that I get. So it's lovely. It's kind of a reddish brown. It's got some sheen to it. This is green tea, if you're wondering. I mean, it's lovely, but it's not this. And both of these were on white stoneware clay, so it's not the clay that's the difference. So it's obviously the firing. I haven't been able to replicate this. So I'm going to go through a series of more deliberate tests and try firing it with different numbers of layers at different temperatures. This one's going to take a while, but I figured I would bring you along for the ride in case you're interested in Mayco's copper float and looking to get this particular result out of it. I'm also going to try it on red clay because I haven't done that, and I'm curious to know if it works on red clay, because obviously red clay, sometimes some glazes don't agree with it. So we're going to give that a try too. So the first tester I'm going to do is going to be this little bud vase, because I think whatever way it turns out on this, it'll be cute and it'll be usable, even if it's not what I'm looking for. And this is, again, that white stoneware clay. I use Pottery Supply House. I think it's 519. Yep, 519 for this. So it's a nice clean stoneware body. Now, how am I going to get that in the inside? Because I don't mind pouring it in, but it's not going to go in there. Maybe I should throw myself some funnels. Not going to help me today, though. I did wax around the bottom of this, so don't mind being a little messy down here because it's going to be pretty straightforward to clean off. That's one coat. Coats on that. Still only the one coat on this. It's humid here today, so it's probably going to take longer than usual to dry. We have had a bad forest fire season here in New Brunswick, and I am not going to complain about the rain or the humidity. All right. So coat 2 is pretty dry here. Coat 1 is finally dry here. cat is awake. I was going to say unhappy, but she just meows all the time. Happy, unhappy. It's just talking to us. Actually in the middle of doing another glaze test on Chun Plum, and I'm waiting for things to dry, so I'm going to do another couple of test tiles in the copper float. Interesting glazing on texture. Vase. I can get this one to turn out the way I want it to. It's going to be very pretty. Anyway, so let's not be too precious about this. Goes against the grain. I did a lot of painting of walls when I was younger, and we lived in an old house and nothing was square, so most people will put painter's tape along the ceiling and the trim and all that stuff to keep the paint where they want it to be. Well, in an old house, that's useless because nothing is straight, nothing is squared up. So you just have to get really good at painting a straight line. So I did, because I enjoyed painting, changing up the color of my walls. And so now I find it very difficult to just splush glaze on, but really that's all you need to do sometimes. One thing about this copper float color is it really has staying power. I don't know what the stain is, but iron maybe? Anyway, it's persistent. Okay, coat 3. If you enjoy these glaze videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. I know everybody says that, but they say it for a reason, which is that YouTube looks at the engagement on videos to decide whether or not to show those videos to more people. And engagement is likes and it's watch time. So if you watch to the end of the video, YouTube figures you like that one better than one that you don't finish. And the subscribes tells them how popular a channel is. So by liking and subscribing, whether it's me or another YouTuber, you're helping them to reach more of an audience. And I feel like I can speak for everybody who puts time and energy and effort into making videos. We really appreciate it. It actually takes a surprisingly long amount of time to not just film the video. I mean, pottery takes forever anyway, but at the time you throw something and trim it and glaze it, it's weeks. But the videos themselves, the editing process is time intensive. I enjoy the process, but you know, if you're spending time in something, you'd like lots of people to get to enjoy it. So that's where the liking and subscribing and watching until the end helps out. So for everybody who is subscribed, thank you very much for following my channel. And for everybody who makes it to the end of the videos, we're not there yet. Thank you for making it to the end of the videos, and thanks just for being with me today. Okay, so that's 3 coats on the inside of this and the outside of that. The inside of this, I'm going to pour it, and the outside of this, I will brush it. Okay, I am popping in here with some Midway results with the copper float. So first I tried this guy in my little test kiln, which needs new elements. This is, oh, this is a cone 7. I don't know where the cone 6 one disappeared to, but anyway, the cone 7 bent a little bit. The cone 6 didn't bend much at all. Or sorry, this didn't bend much at all. The cone 6 bent a little bit, but I don't know what I've done with that cone 6 cone. That would probably call it a 5 or a 5.5 if I had to guess. It's really matte. The surface, I mean, the surface is fine. I haven't tried acid or lemon or anything on this, but the surface is fine, and it has some small shiny areas, but it's mostly just a matte brown. So fine, not what I was after. This, however, this is what I was after. And I fired this with a slow cool schedule, which I will put a link to below in the comments. I modified the schedule that you'll see in the link a little bit because this is a new kiln and I know it kind of fires hot, and so I'm trying to just dial in that perfect temperature. And I didn't quite get there. This is cone, oops. This is cone 6 and this is cone 7. So like this was, yeah, on this shelf, it was like a cone 7.5. Like this was fired, whoops. This was fired hot. Luckily it was on white stoneware, so it didn't bloat. But yeah, like 7.5 for this guy. Some of the other shelves were a little cooler, but it was a solid 6.5 kind of everywhere. And so 7.5. This part here that is nice and shiny and has these beautiful crystals was on the inside of the kiln. I actually don't know if that means it was hotter or cooler. I think that means it was a little cooler, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But anyway, I'll do some research and try and figure that out. But everywhere, you know, it's nice and shiny and it's got these kind of little crystals here. The part facing the elements was more matte. I wonder if this has less to do with heat and more to do with the slow cool. I don't know. But I do think it is safe to say that to get this stuff, these beautiful little sequins here, hot firing is better than cool firing. I've got another one that's going to go into the kiln today, and I'm going to adjust this firing schedule a little bit more to try and get it to a cone 6, and we'll see where we end up. This did run just a little bit. This will be easy enough to Dremel off, but it did stick to the cookie a bit. So if you are taking copper float up above a cone 6, do so with caution. Anyway, this is super cute. Okay, I don't usually film my kiln openings, honestly, because life is short and there's only so much of it that I want to film. There's a lot of data in these 2 pots though, so I wanted to film them in the kiln so that you guys can see what's going on. See if I can make this brighter. No, that just gives me different light. There we go. And we'll move you in a bit. Okay. So what I did here, again, I've been playing with that firing schedule, and I put a cone on the inside and the outside of this because I was curious to see which side was hotter. So I'm not sure that this is necessarily a great test for that because it wasn't totally full. There's lots of space in the middle there, but anyway. So on the outside, we still have a hot cone 6. And on the inside, we have a hot cone 6. So same temperature. So not much data there. What is interesting is that this pot, you can already see, has lots of little sequins on it. This is all pretty hot, so not super easy to pick up. This one's a little cooler. Okay. Oh, it plucked. Oh, this one was porcelain. Shoot. And I just used a plain cookie. I didn't put kiln wash on it or alumina hydrate on the bottom of this. Oh well. Anyway, so this was kind of not a garbage cup, but it was just from a series of mugs that I had made a few months ago and just kind of wasn't jiving with my overall style. Anyway, so I took some chances with it. So this is Spectrum Pearl White. Out here, this is just a red underglaze. And then I put copper float because I thought, well, copper and the maple leaf, you know, that kind of works. And I did I do 2 or 3 coats on this? I think, oh, I poured the inside of this. So I poured the inside and then did 3 coats on the handle. And you can see that it's all this kind of satin. You know, not a lot of the big crystals here, not any of the big crystals here. So interesting. Usually pouring gives you a really thick application. This one is really hot. This one you can see has gorgeous crystals up here, and it's more that satin matte at the bottom. So what this tells me is that the thicker application is what gets the crystals, because I'm going to have to go back and look. It's been a while since I did this one, but if memory serves, I did 4 coats on this top area and then 3 down here. So that tells me that we need thicker application if this is the effect that we're going for from the copper float. And again, there are some matte sections there, but they're kind of all the way around. So I would guess that maybe these are sections where it wasn't quite as thick of an application. So maybe the next thing I should try is like 5 coats and see what happens. Is that dangerous? Probably. And this didn't run. It just, I put wadding on the bottom and I just need to tap it off. But I don't want to do that on the kiln brick because it's quite fragile. So I don't want to break it. It's still hot. So we're getting some information here. So the thick application gives us the crystals. This does not tell us whether cooler or warmer works because this was a solid hot cone 6 on both sides of this particular pot. There is another copper float one further down. There are actually 3 copper float pots in this kiln load. So we'll see what those ones look like, but this is interesting and useful information here. Although I am surprised that the poured cup didn't get the crystals, because usually, like I say, pouring gets a really thick, almost too thick of a layer. There's one more bowl that I didn't show you in the kiln unloading. It's got some It's got some clay on it from being set to the side of my wheel while I was throwing because it still needs this bottom sanded. Anyway, this one was on the bottom shelf of that same kiln load, which fired cooler. So this is a cone 6 cone that was on the bottom shelf. So I would say, I don't know, let's call it a 5.5 for fun. So still lovely. It's kind of got that satiny matte. It's trying to make crystals, but it doesn't quite make it. So I had hoped to be able to give you at the end of this video the recipe, the formula for getting the results that you want from copper float. We're not quite there yet. What I think I can say with reasonable certainty is that a thicker application leads to more of these sequin crystals, and a warmer firing leads to more of these sequin crystals. A thinner application or cooler firing gives you more of a matte or a satin type finish. The one outlier in this hypothesis is this cup, because this one, it was poured on the inside, brushed on the handle, and, you know, I would expect the handle to be like this because I just did 3 coats. But the inside, I would have expected it to be more like this because usually when you pour, it makes a thicker application. So I don't know what happened to this particular cup. It does not fit in with my hypothesis. So I think this glaze is worth some further testing. I really like it. I really like glazes that give you this kind of variation on the surface of your pot. It's a lot like what I see with people who do the soda firings, where you get variation on the surface of your piece and it's a little bit different every time. So I enjoy this, and I will continue to test. And you never know, maybe there will be a part 2 of this video. But for now, if you're looking for sequins, fire it a little warmer and put lots of glaze on. This was 4 layers, so give that a try at a hot cone 6 or a cone 7. Be careful of running. And as always, if you have used copper float, I would love to hear about your experiences and how you made out with it, and whether or not you have any surefire tips for getting the best out of copper float. Let me know down in the comments what your top tips for copper float are. And as always, thanks for watching.